Oh, you're. All righty. Good evening. I saw her. There's Dr. Ruffin. Okay. Do I do this?
You sure can.
Just once, or do I do? No, just easy. Opening items, call to order our regular board meeting and call meeting on this 19th of January. Good evening. I would like to announce that the January 19, 2022 regular board meeting is being conducted pursuant to California Government Code Section 54953B concerning teleconferencing of meetings. Board member Dr. Victoria Ruffin is participating in the meeting by teleconference from 4631 East Avenue West, Palmdale, California. This location has been identified on the meeting agenda, and the meeting is being recorded, and all actions will be taken by a roll call vote. As noted on the agenda, attendees are required to wear face covering upon entering the facility, and anyone wishing to observe the meeting may do so via Antelope Valley Union High School District's YouTube channel. Individuals may take photographs or record meetings provided so long as the individual's conduct does not constitute a disruption, including obstructing the view of others. Those wishing to address items on the agenda and matters that are not on the agenda within the jurisdiction of the AVUHSD board shall do so in person, complete a speaker form, and give it to the secretary. I will call the individual's name to come up to the podium to provide their comments. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and the total time for public input on each item shall be limited to 20 minutes. Non-agendized items are limited to a total time allotment of 20 minutes. No speaker may relinquish a time allotment to another speaker. Speakers are cautioned that under California law, no person is immune from liability for making intentionally false or defamatory comments regarding any person simply because those comments are made at a public meeting. I would like to take this opportunity to remind all attendees of the board's civility policy, Board Policy 1313. This civility policy requires that members of the district staff will treat parents and other members of the public with respect and expect the same in return. The district is committed to maintaining orderly educational and administrative process free from disruptions. This includes the district's board meetings. The district promotes mutual respect, civility, and orderly conduct among the district board members, district employees, parents, and the public. The district seeks public cooperation with this endeavor. The district encourages members of the public to attend board meetings and to address the board concerning any item on the agenda or within the board's jurisdiction. The board does not prohibit public criticism of its policies, procedures, or program services, acts, or omissions. Similarly, the board does not prohibit public criticism of district employees. While members of the public have a right to speak to the board is obligated to and will maintain a safe and disruption-free environment during the district's board meetings. To this extent, we ask that speakers consider the decorum of this official meeting and remind speakers that comments and criticism can be politely and respectfully stated so as not to disrupt the orderly conduct of this meeting. The board will not permit any disturbance or willful disruption of its board meetings. Persistent disruption by an individual or group are grounds to terminate the privilege of addressing the board. Consistent with Board Bylaw 9323, the board president shall not permit any disturbances or willful interruption of board meeting. Persistent disruption by an individual shall be grounds for the board president to terminate the individual's privilege to address the board. Additionally, the public is advised that the board has the authority and will remove disruptive individuals and in order to become clear if necessary. In such a case, members of the media not participating in the disturbance will be allowed to remain. Individuals not participating in such disturbances may be allowed to remain at the discretion of the board. When the room is ordered cleared due to a disturbance, further board proceedings will concern only matters appearing on the agenda. Item B of our agenda is roll call. I need to ask Dr. Ruffin to respond to the following questions. Are you able to hear our proceedings on your end?
Yes.
Do you have a copy of the agenda for this meeting?
Yes.
Has the agenda been posted at your location?
Yes.
And is your location such that any member of the public could participate in the public portion of this teleconference meeting from your location?
Yes.
Okay, members of the board, I'd like to ask if you can hear Dr. Ruffin. Mr. Martinez is not here yet. So, Ms. Perrell.
Yes.
Ms. McGrady.
Yes.
Mr. Rush.
Yes.
And I can hear her clearly as well. Item 2, closed session, public business from the floor. Closed session agenda items. Members of the public who would like to address the board on any closed session item on the agenda may do so now. Please identify the agenda item you wish to discuss. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and the total time for public input on each item shall be limited to 20 minutes. During public comments, the board listens to concerns and issues. The board may ask questions for purposes of clarification. The law prohibits the board from entering into a dialogue with the public or taking action on items not on the agenda. Are there any comments?
We don't have any comments for closed session at this time.
Thank you, Rachel. The Board of Trustees will go into closed session and reconvene the meeting at 5 p.m. Thank you, everybody.
Ma'am?
Thank you. I don't know how I fell off.
Dr. Ruffin, you're back online.
Say it again, Mr. Allen.
Yeah, just let you know we're back online.
Okay, I was like, what happened?
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to 2022. I'd like to announce that the January 19th regular board meeting is being conducted pursuant to California Government Code Section 54953B concerning teleconferencing meetings. Board member Dr. Victoria Ruffin is participating in this meeting by teleconference from 4631 East Avenue West in Palmdale, California. The location has been identified by the meeting on the meeting agenda. The meeting is being recorded and all actions will be taken by roll call vote. As noted on the agenda, attendees are required to wear a face mask covering upon entering the facility, and anyone wishing to observe the meeting may do so via Antelope Valley Union High School District's YouTube channel. Individuals may take photographs or record meetings provided so long as the individual's conduct does not constitute a disruption, including obstructing the view of others. Those wishing to address items on the agenda and matters that are not on the agenda within the jurisdiction of the high school district board shall do so in person, complete a speaker form and give it to the secretary. I will call the individual's name to come up to the podium to provide their comments. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and the total time for public input on each item shall be limited to 20 minutes. Non-agendized items are limited to a total time allotment of 20 minutes. No speaker may relinquish a time allotted to another speaker. Speakers are cautioned that under California law, no person is immune from liability for making intentionally false or defamatory comments regarding any person simply because those comments are made at a public meeting. I would also like to take this opportunity to remind all attendees of the board's civility policy, Board Policy 1313. This civility policy requires that members of the district staff will treat parents and other members of the public with respect and expect the same in return. The district is committed to maintaining orderly educational and administrative processes free from disruptions. This includes the district's board meetings. The district promotes mutual respect, civility, and orderly conduct among district board members, district employees, parents, and the public. The district seeks public cooperation with this endeavor. The district encourages members of the public to attend board meetings and to address the board concerning any item on the agenda or within the board's jurisdiction. The board does not prohibit public criticism of its policies, procedures, or programs, services, acts, or omissions. Similarly, the board does not prohibit public criticism of district employees. While members of the public have the right to speak to the board is obligated to and will remain a safe, disruption-free environment during the district's board meetings. To this extent, we ask that speakers consider the decorum of this official meeting and remind speakers that comments and criticism can be politely and respectfully stated so as not to disrupt the orderly conduct of this meeting. The board will not permit any disturbances or willful disruptions of the board meetings. Persistent disruption by an individual or group are grounds to terminate the privilege of addressing the board. Consistent with Board Bylaw 9323, the board president shall not permit any disturbances or willful interruption of a board meeting. Persistent disruption by an individual shall be grounds for the board president to terminate the individual's privilege to address the board. Additionally, the public is advised that the board has the authority and will remove disruptive individuals in order to bring clarity if necessary. In such a case, members of the media not participating in the disturbance will be allowed to remain. Individuals not participating in such disturbances may be allowed to remain at the discretion of the board. When the room is ordered cleared due to a disturbance, further board proceedings will concern only matters appearing on the agenda. At this time, I'd like to ask Dr. Ruffin to respond to the following questions. Are you able to hear our proceedings on your end?
Yes,
Do you have a copy of the agenda for this meeting?
yes,
Has the agenda been posted at your location?
Yes.
And is your location such that any member of the public could participate in the public portions of this teleconference?
Yes.
Okay. Members of the board, are you able to hear Dr. Ruffin? Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Burrell?
Yes.
Ms. McGrady?
Yes.
Mr. Rush?
Yes.
And I can hear her as well. Item B is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll please stand. And place your right hand over your heart. Ready to begin?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. The ping pong meeting. Do we have any comments on any item on the ping pong meeting? No. Okay. Then I get to skip this next section. And jump right into item B, which is purchase order schedule PINCO. It's recommended that the Board of Trustees approve and authorize the purchases outlined in the attached schedule. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion by Ms. Burrell and a second by Mr. Rush. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'd like to call for the vote. Student board member, how do you vote?
Aye.
Board, Ms. Burrell? Aye. Dr. Ruffin?
Yes.
Ms. McGrady?
Aye.
Mr. Rush?
Yes.
And I'm an aye as well. Motion passes by a vote of 5-0, with the student board member voting aye. Number 5 is we're going to reconvene to our regular board meeting. Recognition, reports, public comments, presentation update on academies of the Antelope Valley. Mr. Neal.
Give us just a second here. Watch your meeting here. I mean, your presentation. I just have too many screens.
We should have music.
There we go. All right. Thank you, Gary. Good evening, Madam President, board members. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you tonight a little bit about the Palmdale Prep Academy. I promise to be brief in my comments and then give you an opportunity if you have any questions at the end to ask those. Prior to me talking a little bit about Palmdale Prep Academy, it might be important for everyone to have a little bit of a historical background overview of academies of the Antelope Valley. If you can recall, back in 2012, for the 2012-2013 school year, Academies of the Antelope Valley was instituted. And so this marks the 10th year of AAV's existence. And the purpose of that academy, it's a district instructional program. It is structured as a dependent charter, but it was to serve grades 7 through 12 to dedicate all 7th through 12th grade students who desire a rigorous educational opportunity that meets student needs throughout individualized instruction, intervention, enrichment, as well as positive school climate. And so when we opened academies of the Antelope Valley, and keep in mind, academies was purposeful in being plural. That gives us an opportunity as we see needs to be able to grow and to establish a different academies throughout the years based on a reflection of our comprehensive sites and how then to meet the needs of students. And really one of the questions that we asked ourselves back then was, if we had 2 more years of involvement with students, how better could we prepare them for some of our comprehensive programs, specialized programs, as many of our schools were becoming specialized in the academies and programs that they were developing on their campus. And so what we look, this is basically just a year-to-year look at all of those academies. We started back in 2012 with SOAR Prep as well as Virtual Academy. SOAR Prep was established for 7th and 8th grade students. And as you can see, in year 1, there was 158 7th and 8th graders. The campus is designed to hold 200 students. And so that was a good first year. And you can see throughout the years, the amount of growth and community and student interest that was in SOAR Prep Academy. And again, SOAR Prep Academy was targeted to students to look at, for those students who might want to go into SOAR high school. It is an avid-based school, and preparing those students to get a leg up on what they might expect at SOAR High School, as SOAR is that high school that we have that is on the college AAV campus. The same year, we opened up the Virtual Academy. And again, this was for 7th through 12th grade students. And it really was a different educational opportunity for those students who may not want it to be on a main campus for whatever reason, but still wanted the structure of daily engagement with the courses. It's different than independent study. It is not a variable credit program, but it is something that allows students some flexibility as well as with our parents. And you can see these are our virtual full-time students. Started off with 104. Currently, and these dates, basically, these numbers that we have come from CVED's time. So this is kind of a picture, a snapshot in mind in that first week of October. We know that enrollment changes, ebbs and flows throughout a school year. Currently, if you go all the way across into the Virtual Academy in October of this past October, there were 178 students. Currently, we have 212 in the Virtual Academy as of today. So we see that that is an important program. However, we have 2 and sometimes 3 times the amount of students that aren't full-time, but are part-time students that will take a class or 2 in conjunction with the 5 or 6 that they have on the main campus. This gives our students added flexibility and being able to add courses to their schedule, whether it's an AP course or a college prep course or career-based CTE course. And then in 2015, the 2015-16 school year, we opened up Night Prep in conjunction with Night High School's Engineering and Design Academy. And we changed things a little bit that year, so we just started off with 1 grade level. We started off with 7th grade and then added an 8th grade in the 16-17 school year. And you can see as we progress through those years, where we are at with the enrollment. And as you also recall, for this school year, we added a 6th grade for Night Prep. Currently at Night Prep, as of today, there were 194 students in Night Prep, which would include 6th through 8th grade. Palmdale Prep, we opened up in the 17-18 school year. We did go back to looking at 2 grade levels at that time. And at that point, again, the campus looking at staffing it for an expected roughly 200 students in that program. It was a little low that first year, but we wanted to work through with that and to see how things went. Unfortunately, it's been difficult to keep the numbers of enrollment at Palmdale Prep. The staff at Palmdale Prep, the administrators, the teachers, the classified staff work diligently each year to recruit 7th and 8th grade students. At the Poppy Festival, at the fairgrounds, parent information nights, and in many cases, walking through neighborhoods, talking with community members. It has been a struggle. The location might play a factor. Programs from the Palmdale School District might be a factor that it's not drawing to Palmdale Prep. So we have struggled with Palmdale Prep. It is in collaboration with the Palmdale Health Careers Academy, and again, anticipated to serve 200 students. The goal being 100 7th graders who form the foundation of a strong program as they feed into the 8th grade, and with 100 8th grades there. So you can see the enrollment that we have. Currently, as of Seabed's Day, we had 67 students enrolled on a campus designed for 200. That was 45 8th grade students, but only 22 7th grade students. So that's a struggling program, and we recognize that. At this point, the direction we are moving towards is finishing out the 2021-22 school year, but looking at discontinuing Palmdale Prep for the 22-23 school year. The facility is still our facility. We'll look at how that looks, but looking at discontinuing Palmdale Prep, which gives us some questions. What is next? We recognize that we want to make sure that we're serving our students, but also taking into consideration needs of our staff as we look to move in that direction. Currently, the 8th grade students will easily matriculate to the high schools. Next school year, for the 22-23 school year, they'll be at Palmdale High School. They'll be at Knight High School. Through open enrollment, maybe at one of our other comprehensive sites. So we're confident that our 8th graders will transition very smoothly. We are wanting to be extra careful with our 7th grade students. Our 7th grade students who would be 8th grade into Palmdale Prep, we're giving them priority to enroll in Knight Prep Academy for their 8th grade year, and even SOAR Prep Academy. We'll work with the parents, we'll work with the students to ensure that we can make sure that they have a spot at one of those academies of their choosing. We want to keep them in our district. We love the fact that they are within our programs, and we want to continue that. With staff as well, we want to make sure that our staff recognize we're not doing any reduction in force, we're not doing any layoffs. We'll make sure that our staff has a position at one of our other programs. We have had two staff meetings with the staff at Palmdale Prep, and in those meetings, I have promised to work with each individual employee to ensure that if there are vacancies, we will make sure that they go to a site and where they feel comfortable and feel that they can be a contributing member. So we'll work and continue to work with that. We've already looked at some requests, and we'll continue to honor those. With our 7th graders, we've met with parents. We've had a parent night. We'll continue to meet with parents. Mr. Behrman and his staff will be working with the individual 7th grade students to provide them opportunities to look at one of the other prep academies of their choosing. Again, the facility is still ours. We want to continue to look at that as an opportunity in the future for additional programs. And so we'll continue to have conversations about that. I wanted to share that with you to keep you up to speed of where we are at with academies of the Antelope Valley, and I'd be happy to take any questions if you have any.
Mr. Neal, how many staff members total are we talking about?
Good question, because that's what we want to make sure that we honor those. We've got administrative, certificated, and classified staff. I think all in all, I didn't go back and check, but I think we have about 13 all in all there. We are very careful about filling any vacancies at this point. We're holding off on that. And then we'll work with each of those teachers, classified folks, and administration. Classified folks, in many of those positions, the paraeducators will travel with the student. So wherever the student goes, that paraeducator will follow.
Sure. What about our 7th graders? Are they and their parents comfortable with this or?
Yesterday, we had a meeting last night with our parents. A number of them are disappointed. They recognize the situation that we're in. I think it is comforting to them. I think it was last night to know that we will work with them to get them to one of our other academies of their choosing.
Anybody else with any questions, thoughts, concerns? Thank you very much. Mr.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Our next presentation is on election consultant, and that's being presented. Mr. Hawkins, are you presenting it?
No, we have actually Jared is here and he's going to present for their firm. And I'd like to introduce Jared, and for the life of me, you're going to have to help me with your last name. I don't want to mispronounce it.
I appreciate that, Brian. Jared Boygan. It's phonetic, American immigrant name at some point. Thanks, trustees, for having me, superintendent. Appreciate it. I have a very, very short presentation here just to tell you a little bit about us, and happy to take any questions. So arrow keys will work, right? Yep.
Yes.
I think that will do. Okay. So about our firm, TVWBH Props and Measures, or Props and Measures Inc., as we're graduating to. We have been running, helping school districts and community college districts throughout California prepare and pass bond elections for more than 20 years. We're the leader in our state of doing this. We've helped prepare and or pass over close to 350 successful bond and tax measures for K-14 institutions, districts all over California. We are a nonpartisan firm. Talking about school bonds is not a partisan political issue, or it can't be if you want to be successful in a community like the Antelope Valley. It is a local issue more than it is a political issue, or it should be. That's how we believe, and that's our approach. And we believe that ultimately successful measures are about bringing people together around common goals, unlike in sort of candidate races where, candidates try to stand out from the crowd and distinguish themselves from others. And that's a different kind of political exercise altogether. When the issue is bonds and community investment, this is really about building community strength and togetherness around common values and common goals. It's a different kind of political exercise. And we have also found that it's very effective for our clients to help voters who, many of whom, let's face it, don't really check in with what you do as a district on a day-to-day basis. I've got a freshman in high school in my local public school district and a fifth grader. I can tell you, I know a lot more about what's happened at that elementary school than I do at that high school. In fact, I think my high school would do pretty much anything to prevent me from learning what is happening at her high school. Parents pay a lot of attention to the younger grades. They sometimes get checked out a little bit when it comes to high school. And the vast majority of residents don't have kids in your schools anyway, because their kids are already grown or their kids are too young or what have you. So they have a very limited sense of what you actually do on a day-to-day basis. And a big part of a bond process is helping to educate people about the status of the facilities and also the status of what goes on inside the facilities. And we have found over the years that, unlike some in our industry who believe that you have to claim the sky has fallen, our buildings are falling apart, things are disaster, please send money. We don't find that to be the most effective approach. We believe that it is better and more effective to let them know what you're doing well, why they can trust you with investment and why they can trust you with more funding, and what your aspirational goals are. And obviously there's a certain amount of showing them the need, right? You have to have a need for money. It's okay to have older facilities. It's okay to have leaky roofs and electrical that isn't up to modern technology and science labs that need updating and that kind of thing. And we have to be honest about that and transparent about that, but we don't have to do that in a way that runs down people's perception of the district. In fact, we think that's counterproductive. We want to make sure people see what you do and how hard you and your talented educators and staff work every day, and that you can be trusted. So that's been our approach, and it's been, very, very successful over the years. Locally, we don't only work with schools and community colleges. Anywhere voters have to consider taxes in California, we work. So we work with cities and counties and transportation agencies and all those things. Locally, you can see we worked with both cities on their sales tax measures last year, which was an unusual year. if you don't mind my saying. We helped KV College with its most recent bond measure back in 2016, helped Palmdale Elementary with the bond in 2012, and the city of Palmdale with its TOT back in 2009. And then next door, in Santa Clarita Valley, which is not the same as Antelope Valley, I definitely understand, but it's in many ways your nearest neighbor, and there's some similarities. We've done the most recent two bonds for College of the Canyons, and the last time Hart went forward for a bond, we did that one as well. So just my last slide, I want to be respectful of your time. This is a quick overview of what our process looks like. When people talk about a bond or a bond campaign, those of us that have been in politics for a long time, sometimes our minds instantly jump to all that campaign work, what used to be phone banks and is now social media and digital media and yard signs and fundraising and all that stuff. And that stuff matters, and there's a time for it. And we'll have to, have volunteer community leaders ready to work hard and do their bit and sign up endorsements and raise money. And that's going to happen. And that's the step 4. You see the green arrow, the farthest column to the right in this timeline. But in our experience in doing this for 20 years and close to 350 measures, what we've discovered is that the first 3 steps are as, if not more important in determining the success of a measure. And those 3 steps are steps that a district can and should take in order to do a nice, constructive, strategic, and transparent public process before the board commits to a bond. And I think that's really important. The board will have to take a vote to put a bond on the ballot no later than August 12th of 2022, probably a couple of days before that, so that the documents can be delivered to the registrar of voters on time. And prior to you taking that vote, there's 3 important steps that the district ought to take to make sure that the community is ready for you to put this election, this bond in front of the voters. First is a feasibility study, where we would bring in, we don't do the polling, but we'll bring in a qualified opinion research firm to do a scientific survey of voters, of the, all the likely voters within the district. And we'll get some real data. We'll be working closely with Brian and his team and other your financial advisors and consultants to lay out some various scenarios for bonds and tax rates that would be tested in the polling, and also to assess different kinds of projects and needs that we'll talk about in the polling. And we'll want to understand some of the political issues in the area, anything else that might be heading to, the November ballot. Obviously, we know there could be a contested congressional seat, and that can create some, strong feelings in the area. And all those things, and those will lead into a feasibility study. We get the results of the feasibility study back. That will tell us this is green light, possible, keep proceeding. Yellow light, proceed with caution, meaning we think we can make this work, but we got to do a couple more things to make sure we think it's possible. Or red light, that would just tell us, hey, 2022 is not your year. Let's put a pause on it now. We'll come back and talk about it again in 18 months or something and see about that. Assuming that we get to proceed, then we could proceed to the next 2 steps, which is first building consensus. And that is transparent public outreach, getting out throughout the community and talking to the various business groups and business leaders in your area and the other electeds and Rotary clubs and important neighborhood associations, and of course your parent groups and your elementary partners, and letting them know you're thinking about a bond and this is why, and this is what you need the money for, and importantly asking for their input. What do you think? What questions do you have for us? And answering those questions. And that's a big part, that dialogue is a big part of the transparency of this process. And that can extend to, parents and students, and even the voters themselves. A lot of times our districts will send out like a piece of mail with a tear-off survey in it, or put a survey on the website and encourage members of the public to just go to the website and let them know what they think and fill out, a questionnaire. Leave comments. And the final step is to build a strong measure, a bond measure. For those of you who haven't been through it, there's a legal packet that the board will have to review and adopt prior to that August 12th deadline. That includes a reasonably specific project list and a tax rate statement and a ballot question. And our job is to help work with Brian and the consultants and the superintendent to get all that stuff ready for you in time for that vote, and make sure that it reflects not just the priorities and needs of the district, but everything we heard from the community is taken into account as well, both in the form of the feasibility study and the survey and the outreach, the public outreach that we did. So all that stuff gets wrapped up together. And if we do those steps correctly, 1, 2, and 3, we bring it to you as a board then you can confidently take that vote in July or August or summer this year, whenever that is. And then that advocacy campaign we talked about feels much more like downhill sailing. And we're not trying to solve all those political problems at the last minute. We've kind of already identified them and solved them ahead of time because we've been doing good, transparent, responsible public outreach. So that's the plan as we laid it out. And then at that point, there's a handoff where the district can no longer spend money on the bond measure per se. And so a privately funded volunteer-led campaign committee will have to emerge. And that's one of the things that we'll take into account in terms of our readiness recommendation for you is, are people ready to take this on and take it over and raise private money and do what it takes to pass this thing? But assuming they're ready, then that's when they take over, and then we'll help that group run a privately funded volunteer-led campaign. So that's the overview of the process. That's my final slide, and happy to entertain any questions.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, this is Dr. Ruffin. Are there any bonds that we're currently thinking about considering, or is this just a preliminary process?
That is Dr. Ruffin, and she's meeting with us virtually.
Hi, Dr. Ruffin. This is Brian. We are considering this. This is part of the exercise to consider taking to the voters to vote for a bond for funding or financing facility improvements. So this is the first step to look at that for a November election. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
I have probably a ton of questions, which I'm not going to ask tonight, but sir, I don't know if anybody told you or not, but I worked on 3 bond campaigns in the Valley.
I am familiar with that, actually, yeah.
And do you know of any other district that's thinking about going for a bond?
You know, I have not heard of any for this year. I know, Palmdale Elementary's had 2 in fairly recent years, within the last 10 years. I haven't heard of others, and I don't think the college is looking right now. So I think that's, suggests this is a good opportunity for us to explore. I think people also are pretty aware that it's been a challenge here, and that if we kind of send an early signal that we have good numbers and we're going to try, I think people would be respectful of your opportunity to try.
I personally like to make sure that we're extremely honest with the community and make sure that they understand why we would. I'll be curious to see what your where the money would go if we did go for a bond. So I thank you for your presentation. No one else has any comments or questions, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
And by the way, if you're not happy with your son's high school,
My daughter, yes.
your daughter, yes.
I have no control of that process. That is
We
her
have
right now.
we have some great programs.
That's great. That's great. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, the next one is a presentation, and we will be conducting a public hearing on California Voters' Right Act, CVRA, public hearing on proposed adjusted trustee area map. So I am going to ask, so do I read this then now? Or do I... Okay, just like that. Yep. Okay. I got it.
So you just one more minute.
Yeah. Just a second. I have a little bit to read. I have 16 pages, it feels like. Okay, under Education Code Section 5019.5A, following each federal census, the board must approve adjustments of trustee area boundaries if necessary to make sure the population in each trustee area is balanced. We will now convene a public hearing to receive public testimony concerning the proposed adjusted trustee area maps that are created following the release of the 2020 census data. The public will be invited to provide input regarding the proposed adjusted trustee area maps following a presentation by the district's consultant on this matter. And you, sir, are the district's consultant.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
am.
Thank you for coming tonight.
All right, good evening, board members. Milton Foster on behalf of F3. This is our second presentation on this subject matter. We'll just get started just by way of recap. The district transitioned to by trustee areas in 2017. And there is a requirement once you go to by trustee areas that every 10 years after the federal census comes out, the board must reevaluate its existing map. And in the event that there is an adjustment needed, then the board must take such action on or before March 1st, 2022. In this instance, here, as we said last time, we had the demographer do an assessment, which involves taking the present map and overlaying it with the 2020 census numbers. And the demographer determined that the district's map is out of compliance. When that occurs, what needs to happen is that the board then has to have the demographer create drafts or propose additional maps for the board's review and consideration, adjusting the trustee areas so that the population balance comes back into compliance. And that's what we have here, and we'll get to the maps shortly. But just by way of some understanding here, the number that we look at is the population variance. You'll see here, this is the data here. If you look at the middle of the page, it says total variance of 12.4%. Again, out of compliance. What we're looking here through this process is to have a new map be selected ultimately by the board that brings that total variance back down to beneath 10%. So this here just shows the comparison between the 2010 census and the 2020 census, and you will see the numbers towards the middle of the page. You'll see that trustee areas 1 and 2 decreased in population proportionately, and then areas 3 and 4, specifically area 3, increased more significantly than the others, and that's what caused the need to rebalance the population amongst the trustee areas. So now I'll bring up, I want to go through the maps. This is your current trustee areas right here, and then I'm going to have your assist me to go through the maps, the draft maps, so that you can take a look and just see some of the very minor changes that are being proposed by the demographer. And then we can take some board feedback. If there's any questions, we can move on from there.
Sorry, this is Dr. Ruffin. The maps were just previously being shown, and they're different from the ones that are inside of the agenda. So I'm not sure if whoever is controlling the technology can show the presentation so that I'm able to see it. It was just up, and now I'm seeing an image of the board members.
Yes, so what we're doing is we are opening up a PDF of zoomed in versions of the exact same maps with additional detail, identifies the school sites, and then it also specifies, it has indications on there of the differences between the existing map and the proposed new maps.
Absolutely. I have no problem with what we're doing. I'm fully understanding that. I'm saying I can't see it. However, the display is coming to me. Now I can see it. Thank you.
All right, so this is scenario 1 here. As you can see, it might be difficult for you, but area 3 is the salmon area in salmon colored area in the middle of the map. That is the area that increased substantially in population. I think it was 7.8%. And so as a result, you will see that it shrunk. If you see the purple lines there, the purple lines indicate where the existing trustee area borders are. So everywhere where you see the purple line, that's where the existing map looks like. And then you see the colors divided indicates where the new trustee boundaries will be drawn in this version of the map. That makes sense. So if you can see the salmon area, area 3 is the area that increased in population. And so what took place is the demographer shrunk the footprint of area 3 and expanded the footprint of areas 1 and 2 in order to balance the population out. And as a result, it went from the variance of 12%. And you can see here now at the top of this page, the variance in this particular version is 3.8%. The idea here, of course, is to keep the original footprint of the trustee area map that was voted in just several years ago and only make the adjustments necessary to bring the population back into compliance. And that's why you see, for the most part, when you look at this and the other option, that for all intents and purposes, they look very similar, except for where you see the purple line and the boundaries, the color boundaries differentiate there between areas 1 and 2. That's the only place where the demographer made changes, just trying to maintain the original integrity of the map that was previously drafted.
Right. Is there a way that you can give us those exact boundaries? So I think I asked this question to Mr. Neal over the weekend while we were reviewing the agenda. Is there a way you can give us specifically, like, for example, in the salmon color, I can see that north and south for the salmon area, it would be 70th Street. And east and west, it would be, I believe it's so small, Avenue I. But to the west, what exactly is that street or cutoff?
Okay. Well, I hear what you're saying. What we'll do is we'll go and I'll get from the demographer for every border, every street of each border of each trustee area, we'll get the identification of the street name. And I'll send that to district staff, to Brian, to have that version posted up on the district's website, and so that the board and the community will have access and be able to see the exact street for every contour of each trustee area.
Thank you so much. I know Mr. Neal was saying that they had tried to blow it up themselves and it was just so distorted they couldn't see it. So I think our community would really appreciate that.
Will do. So we'll make sure we'll do that, and I'll get that, as my dad used to say, quick, fast, in a hurry to Mr. Hawkins, okay? All right, so this is scenario 1. Yeah. Okay. So now I'll show you, once we get it up, scenario 2. You'll see there aren't very many distinctions or differences between the two scenarios. Again, the changes were minimal, and that was purposefully done to just respect the original process that was completed by the board only a short time ago. That's scenario 2. No, that's the presentation.
We'll find it.
Yeah, that's it.
There you go. There you go.
All right. So this is the second scenario here. So I'll zoom in just a bit. Again, for all intents and purposes, it looks very similar to the first scenario. We had the demographer just really try and keep everything in place to the extent possible. Again, the same as in scenario 1, there was only an exchange between the salmon area, trustee area 3, and then redistribution of the population between areas 1 and 2. And if we go to the second slide here, and we look at the variance for this particular iteration or proposed map is 4.3. So both maps are well beneath the 10% threshold that is required. Both of them meet the legal requirements. Both of them are eligible for consideration for the board, which I believe the plan is at your next upcoming meeting to have the board make a determination as to which map it would select. With that, I'll take any questions. I got my homework to make sure to get the streets and boundaries done. But with that, I'll take any questions from the board.
Just real quick, a point of clarification. I like peachy instead of salmon.
Peachy.
There we go.
There we go. It is now designated as Peach.
Thank you. That's my area, actually. Anybody have any questions from the board? Mr. Rush? No?
I just have a question for the board, for us in and of itself. When I look at these areas that are, for example, area 4 that is going east and west, it's spreading all the way to 70th Street, and that's a closer community that's closer to Knight High School. I'm not really sure about our ability as a district to accommodate families who are in that district that would be slated to attend Palmdale High School. I'm not sure if those things are a part of the consideration as well. It just seems like that's a very extended area, and I'm not sure if it would be beneficial for that right side to probably go south, if they can consider that for the numbers, you know, with the proximity for the school. I'm just thinking about the commute for parents and students that are coming all the way from the east side of Palmdale to attend what would be our high school. There would be Palmdale High School. Seems like that would be kind of far when they would be closer to Knight High School.
So Dr. Ruffin, this is Greg Nee. I just want to clarify, this does not change the attendance boundaries for the school. This only changes the trustee areas. So
Great.
no boundaries for schools will be changed.
Great, thank you so much. Thanks for the clarity.
Any other board members, anybody else on the board have a question? Okay, as part of this public hearing, members of the public may submit comments on the proposed adjusted trustee area maps. The speakers will be given 3 minutes to make comments on this matter and this matter only. Ms. Roscoe, do we have any?
I do not have any speakers at this time.
We do not have any, okay. So I guess then we will be closing the public hearing. And I want to thank you. Where you go? There he is. Thank you so much for bringing the information to us. And I do appreciate you getting the exact boundaries and the streets for us. I would appreciate that as well.
It'll be done.
Thank you so much.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you all.
Okay. Item D, which is our quarterly William complaints report summary from October 2021 to December 2020.
Hi, so we did receive one complaint during this time period relative to a long-term substitute placed in a special education classroom for more than 30 days, but that was also due to a staffing shortage.
Thank you very much. Thank you. The next one is me, board officer report. I believe, board members, I believe you probably have a printed copy of my report, so I'll just make this fairly quick. The last step, which is the Los Angeles County School Trustees Association meeting, was on January 10th. It was a virtual meeting. Our speaker was Dr. Enrique Ochoa, professor of Latin American Studies, California State University, Los Angeles. His research focuses on Mexican and Central American studies. This is from his bio. Currently, his work centers around integrating Central American studies in the curriculum. And there's a copy of just my notes. They're very brief. Additional comments, January is a Human Trafficking Awareness Month. And the next LACSTA meeting is February 7th. I also attended the Antelope Valley School Board Association meeting. This was our executive board meeting. It was held virtually. And this is traditionally the annual reorganization meeting for the Antelope Valley School Board Association. This is when we decide meeting dates and which district will be hosting our general membership dinner meetings. Also, we have a directory that we put out. It's in the process of being put together and we'll be going to print soon. So if you have any changes in your contact information, please give that to Rachel and she will make sure it gets to the Antelope Valley School Board Association corresponding secretary. Our next dinner meeting is Tuesday, this next Tuesday at Antelope Valley College. And that concludes my report. Antelope Valley School Transportation, Mr. Hawkins.
Hi, good evening. We just want to, ABSTA wants everyone to know that they are doing the absolute best they can. They are stricken with the COVID issues as well. One day last week, they had 31 drivers out. So they are drivers are running double routes, and they're trying to catch up as best as possible. So they are working diligently as well, and just ask for the patience of all three districts that they serve.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Item G from ABTA, Mr. Dan Shine. Good evening, Mr. Shine.
Hello. Been a while. It's going to be a longer while. First, let me say congratulations, Mr. Nan. You certainly have the support of my membership. You're kind of the white whale. You're kind of a rare administrator in my experience here in this district. As you know, my membership is not at all afraid to just chirp at me constantly about administrators, good or bad. But you, sir, every comment I've ever gotten about you has been positive, and that's a rarity in my world. I wish you the best, and you certainly deserve it. I'll speak to you. I had the pleasure of sitting on the Director 1 interviews this past week. I see from the seating arrangement, I guess someone's already been told he's already rejected. No, but I've sat on many interview panels, as some of you might be aware. Assistant superintendent, I sat on Mr. Neal's, sat on directors and principal interviews, and each time during those times, it was kind of an easy job. You know, the top candidate or the top two kind of stood out, and it really made it simple for the panel. That wasn't this time. This time was very different. It's really too bad that there aren't 3 or 4 director positions open for promotion. It was the most competitive slate of interviews that I've ever sat in on. And I will say that speaks loudly to the work of this cabinet and our former superintendent. You took the time to cultivate that level of talent, and it shows. Well done. We're practically 2 years into this pandemic. Sadly, I'm not confident we'll know the extent of this damage for years to come. The pandemic isn't enough. Now we're faced with staffing shortages that none of us have ever faced in our time here. What I do know is that we're in a better position going forward than many districts throughout our state. Why? Your teachers have stepped up and taken up the slack caused by our staffing shortages. There are maybe a handful of teachers at my school who did not teach 1-6 assignments. The number of 1-6 assignments throughout this district is far and away the most it's ever been. My people have bought into something that I like to say a lot. We like to work more for more money, all right? And that's fine. But with that said, I get tired. I get tired of hearing some fellow district employees complain about the amount of money teachers make because we're working more. Without this more work for more money, the district would cease to function. If just 30 teachers at my high school exercised their rights under the CBA and declined the 1-6 assignment, Knight High School wouldn't function. It wouldn't operate. So please keep that in mind going forward. And certainly with all due respect, remember this: you need us more than we need you. Okay. Now, we have enjoyed almost unparalleled labor peace now for close to 10 years. Sorry, Jay. That was not an accident. This was the result of work done by district staff such as Mr. Neal, Ms. Ramos, and the leadership of ABTA. Without that positive relationship, I'm sure these past 4 years and everything that we've gone through in these past 4 years would have been substantially worse for all of us. But Brett, congratulations. We'll be happily retiring soon. And this is my last semester as ABTA president. So we will start the 22-23 school year, the new superintendent, a new assistant superintendent of personnel, and new ABTA leadership, including a new bargaining chair and a new bargaining team. Ray and I made a deal a long time ago. When one of us is out, both of us are out. So it's incumbent upon you, Greg, and the cabinet to work with the future ABTA leadership to foster and build those relationships. Because you know as well as I do, it's so much easier when we all get along. All right. This is the final board meeting I will be attending as president. Past 20 years have flown by, and honestly, I've enjoyed my time bargaining and my time as president. I will miss it, but it's time for me to go. I wish nothing but good things for all of you and the district, because this district has certainly been good to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stein. I can still find you though, can't I?
Not changing my phone number.
H from CSEA, Karen White. Good evening, Miss White.
Good evening. Are we going to adjust this mic before I start, or am I going to be able to make it without that?
There you go.
Is that better? Let's keep moving. So, good afternoon, Board President Ms. Nguyen, board members, student board member Mr. Martinez, our board cabinet, Mr. Nian, Mr. Bernal, isn't it? Yeah. And Mr. Russell. So here we are. The new year finally made it, and the days for 2022 are already beginning to evaporate before our very eyes, and we're quickly approaching February. Even though we've all done this the past 2 years, COVID seems to be thriving and reinforcing its status. I've spoken about the devastation that has wreaked on our members and other establishments when it comes to sick leave, that there hasn't been any resolution to wiping out our employees' leave banks. I had hopes that our governor would be our knight in shining armor and provided us some relief. But it seems that that shield he had has been hung up somewhere on a wall and is hidden out of reach. It's a shame that with all the different types of protocols that come out from the Department of Public Health and other agencies, that someone hasn't been able to protect the working population from losing their valuable sick leave. Please take a look at other districts and what they're doing, extending the COVID leave, eliminating dock days, or using public funds designated for this pandemic, since we continue to endure excessive absences from the different variants. Moving forward to a new topic because I seem to wear out my welcome when it comes to leave banks. I want to express our appreciation to the board and to their representatives for when we last met concerning our members' reclassifications. We met Thursday, December the 16th as a committee, and we look forward to the district's openness to extending our reclassifications MOU in order to provide a additional opportunity for our members to submit their applications. And since we're moving quickly into our winter break, we were able to discuss only a few of the applications, and we look forward to rescheduling our next meeting. So please, let me take a moment to applaud all of you, all of our district employees, whether they're certificated, classified, management, and let's not go without including our students and their parents. All encompass our educational learning world. You have been brave. You have been steadfast. You have laughed and we've cried as we've endured these past 2 years. You supported each other as days have brought us news with the loss of coworkers, loved ones, and we take the next step forward. You haven't given up. And we all struggle along seeking a better day around the corner, a brighter day to celebrate and look back on our accomplishments. You spent long days, tireless nights, and let's not forget those weekends on trying to keep everyone safe, healthy, and informed. We appreciate you. You are the spokes in this wheel. You keep it together and you keep it turning. So for all of you who man those phones, send out the email notifications, calculate the return days for employees to return, whether you're at a site or at an administrative office, we thank you. We salute you for standing by our side. CSE hopes 2022 improves and will provide you more smiles than tears. Here's to a brighter day for all the days tomorrow. And with that, I thank you for your attention. Have a good day.
See, thank you, Karen. Thank you very much. All right, item I is comments from the floor on agendized items. Ms. Orozco, do we have any comments on agendized items?
Yes, we have one.
And before we go, I just want to make sure, and then I'll read this little paragraph. We'll move on with the comment. The public is invited to address the board on any agenda item. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and the total time for public input on each item shall be limited to 20 minutes. During public comments, the board listens to concerns and issues. The board may ask questions for purposes of clarification, but the law prohibits the board from entering into a dialogue with the public or taking action on items not on the agenda. Our first person is
Vivian?
Vivian. Oh, there she is.
Thank you, Mr. Roscoe.
Before I start, which, well, I'm already starting, Mr. Furno. I'll go ahead and say thank you, Ms. Orozco. Thank you, Ms.
Ramos.
Ramos is always so pleasant. My Chris, my security guard. And I really appreciate Dr. Ruffin as always. I'm gonna be brief because like I said, it's so funny. Many people think maybe Dr. Ruffin puts words in my mouth, but I just want to say something. Never, ever, ever will anyone put words in my mouth. No one will sit up and defend me for what I say. I came to this board alone. I'm gonna walk out of here alone. If I end up dying, I came alone. What she stood for to help me to come bring an issue to your district, that's one thing. But the issue today is this here about speaking about the sidewalk or something for Pete Knight. Well, I do recall last year something where other schools are saying, why does Quartz Hill, why does Pete Knight, why do they always get things done to their school? Why not? I think I heard a coach or teachers talk about on the east side, there's so many things that need to be done at the other schools, and we know that. Well, our family came from All Highland right now. Some of them one did graduate from Quartz Hill, but I won't say his name. But the issue that I have about whatever Pete Knight needs, I think that it's wrong that I've seen so many things since I've come to the district, such as the photo ops that are always done for Pete Knight. Pete Knight. And you know what else I would like to say, but I won't say it at this time. I know that you all know what's going on legally with everything that's going on right now. But the point is, why does Pete Knight have to have so many things? Just because our former superintendent and our current vice president or different things have so many things to do with the things that are going on in the community of Pete Knight. I want you all, why don't all of you all take a walk through all of the schools? Go on the east side, go on the west side, but just don't limit your time sitting up and acting as if you don't know other schools have other needs too. I remember that some of the coaches were saying, we need real buses. Highland didn't have buses. 2021, our kids that were actually, I remember, I'm always say this in board meeting, when they were called the N-word by Coach DJ Hines, They weren't being bused with buses. They had to be manned by his brother or them and parents. So I'm asking you, let's see about real buses for Highland. Let's see about a press box. I heard there's not a press box. There's so many things that always seems to get covered up when it comes to the things of the community that kids of different sports needs, like basketball, football, and different things. But there's a whole lot of district funds going on. And I also, thank you. I also like to say, to help you with some of those funds, I'm just going to throw it out there. Dr. Ruffin did something very big, but you guys always put her name on it when it was the majority. The majority was Bob Davis, Amanda Burrell, and Dr. Ruffin, who allowed you all not to have yourself sued by Bridget Cook, an anonymous amount of money, a big, enormous amount of money. It didn't happen. So you have funds, just use them for the right things, for helping out the students.
Did you say we had another speaker? I'm sorry.
That's all we have
Oh,
on
the other one.
agendized
On
items.
agendized items. Okay, then we go to item J, which is public comments from the floor for non-agendized items. Do we have any speakers?
I have one speaker.
Okay, let me read that paragraph again. The public is invited to address the board on any matter not on the agenda that is within the jurisdiction of the board. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and the total time for public input shall be limited to 20 minutes. During public comments, the board listens to concerns and issues. The board may ask questions for purposes of clarification. However, the law prohibits the board from entering into a dialogue with the public or taking actions on items not on the agenda. Okay, Ms. Roscoe.
Ms. Goodman,
Ms. Goodman, there she is.
Thank you, Mr. Roscoe. I'm started, Mr. Burnham. Let me quickly say what I want to say about today. Happy MLK Day. Happy MLK Day. And I already went to say, let's make sure that we keep in remembrance Betty White, love her. Believe it or not, she looks like my mom. And how about Bob Saget? And why not, especially Sidney Poitier? But let's do a lot of other things too. Let's recognize how many people in our world have tried to stand up for what's going on in our district and in the world today about voting rights and different things that's going on. We all know that Black and brown people and all that can work together. You know, we know that from Martin Luther King, but not even that. Many of us know that already because you know what? Half of us are white, half of us are race with Black in our culture and history. So I just talk off the top of my head sometimes, which I don't really mind. But I want to tell you something that I was looking at with what's her name? I'm gonna say it real good. Fannie Lou Hamer. Let me tell you, she did a speech, and it was so funny that I was watching something that she was speaking, and Lyndon B. Johnson, if that was who it was, I'm not even gonna try to remember my history, but I think they made sure they butted in so that they can't say she couldn't speak, but they just brought more attention because, like they said, the newscast pushed it up and let them really listen to something she had to say. But what she said was also so profound when I heard her speak, saying something about how the victims were James Chaney from Meridian, Mississippi, and Andrew Goodman and Michael Swerner from New York City. All three of them were associated with the Council of Federate Organization, COFO, and its members organization, the Congress of Racial Equality. So when I came to the district last year complaining and saying, I begged you, practically I begged you all, half of you that are up here, I'm just amazed to see that from the year that I came to tell you how these kids were being treated at Highland, when the coach that all of a sudden came from Lancaster came to Highland because his friend was there and they got rid of a Black man who was on the team for 10 years. I'm gonna always bring that up. You wanna know why? Because in my opinion, y'all allow kids to have their mental health destroyed. And mine was in there and so was others, and you did. Some of you are not here, but what I've learned from this district, since I've had to go through some of the stuff that we did with the complaint and the little investigation that was a joke, it's amazing how I've learned how this board now has changed. Remember, the majority was Bob Davis and Amanda Burrell and Dr. Ruffin those years before I ever came. We came to just bring a complaint. It's been thrown off the world and I've been looked at and everybody comes on these little sites to say something crazy. But what kills me is now that you have got your so-called board majority back, it just amazes me. I haven't came to all the board meetings, but you're very confident. I said, why I'm really standing up here is because you're promoting this 1331 or whatever that is to say that you're having civility. You all were so disrespectful last year to Dr. Ruffin, not only her, you sat up here, especially Mrs. Grady, But now you got your board looking the way you want it. I would just say to you, do the right thing. You're not the privileged ones, everybody. That's how come Martin Luther King passed away.
Thank you. You said just one.
That's all I have. We're not agendized items at this time.
Thank you, Chris. Pardon me?
That's it.
That's it. Thank you so much. And thank you, Chris, for always jumping up and cleaning up the mic. We appreciate that. And we'll let you know that. Educational services, number 7, action items. Educational services, public hearing on the iLead Synergy School of Performing Arts and Technology Charter Petition. Sorry about that. We will now convene a public hearing on the iLead Synergy School of Performing Arts and Technology Charter Petition, which the district received on November 8th, 2021. As a part of this public hearing, the petitioner will be given a total of 10 minutes to make a presentation and or provide statements to the board regarding the charter petition. Following the presentation and or statements made by the petitioner, the board will hear comments from teachers and other employees, parents, guardians, and any member of the public who desires to speak on this matter. A total time of 10 minutes will be allocated to any speakers who desire to speak in support of the charter petition. And a total time of 10 minutes will be allocated to any speaker who desired to speak in opposition to the charter petition. Each speaker will be given up to 3 minutes for such comments. So each speaker, am I right, Mr. Furlong? Each speaker will be given 3 minutes with a total of 10 for all the speakers that might want to speak.
For the 10 minutes for speakers in support, 10 minutes for speakers in opposition.
Okay, thank you.
And then 10 minutes for the presentation too. And so,
Okay, thank you. This matter may then come back to the board for final action at a future meeting. If the petitioner would like to make a presentation or provide statements to the board, please feel free to come forward.
Ms. Nguyen, I'm happy to invite Mr. Derek Spiva to the podium. He's the lead petitioner for iLead Synergy.
Thank you. Is Mr. Spiva speaking first?
Good evening, President Nguyen, Vice President Grady, Clerk Rush, Trustees Perrell and Ruffin. Pleasure to be here this evening. Good evening, Superintendent Nehan. Thank you for allowing us to be here. I recognize some familiar faces from the Antelope Valley School Board Association meetings. I retired about 7 months ago as superintendent from the Acton-Aguadulce Unified School District, and it's a pleasure to be here. I think you're going to hear some really interesting, invigorating, and passionate messaging tonight from an acting director for iLead Synergy. It's a pleasure that I've joined this organization, iLead California, as well as Maker Learning Network, and have the privilege to work with an amazing team of leaders. So I stand behind this program. I think it's fabulous. And remember, we were notorious for approving quite a few charters in Acton-Aguadulce. But when I started there were 17 charter organizations. When I left there was 12. And I'm very proud of that fact because we really held the high standard very high. And this is an amazing organization that was one of the top stellar charters that I was proud to work in. So happy to join them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, board. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Dawn Evenson. I am the CEO and founder of iLead California. I am a 35+ year resident of the Antelope Valley and an educator. This is Amanda Fisher. She is the executive director for iLead California, and iLead California is happy to support Dr. Derek Spiva in this endeavor.
Thank you.
So why a charter school? Why a school of the arts and technology? Why me? Why now? When you get right down to it, iLead Synergy will target learners who see themselves as marginalized and unable to connect with the current comprehensive educational model. So then the next question is, Dr. Spiva, what do you know about student marginalization? Well, I might know just a little bit about what it feels like to be different. Growing up in the Antelope Valley was challenging. As the middle son of the first African-American family to move to Palmdale, California in 1960, I remember one morning having the experience of witnessing a burning cross in our front yard. Fast forward to elementary school, I had dyslexia and didn't really learn to read until 7th grade. So every day in school was a struggle. Awkward and uncoordinated at sports, other than Mr. Meyerhofer's band class at Juniper School, there was nothing at school I connected with. I spent most of my time confused and unable to figure out what was going on. It wasn't until age 14 that a rare opportunity was presented by the Los Angeles County Parks and Rec for me to be cast in a production of Damn Yankees at Antelope Valley College. Looking back, I consider this to have been the first positive learning experience in my academic life. I suddenly acquired a laser focus on going to college to study theater and acquiring skills not available to me at that time. That sudden connection and fascination with the arts empowered me through college, graduate school, earning a PhD and a postdoctoral work traveling scholarship, sharing my experience, research, and artistic integration in general education and basic project-based learning. To add to my experience with marginalization, each of my 4 kids inherited some aspect or form of learning disability just like me. As a parent of 4 kids with learning difficulties, I had to be involved in every aspect of their educational growth and development. Years of challenging the comprehensive educational model has brought me to the conclusion that an individualized social-emotional project-based learning is the most effective model for learners who see themselves like me as marginalized. Add the fallout from the great pandemic and the likely resulting PTSD among teens to come. The future demands data-driven, bold, preemptive action, and so here we are.
So the vision of the charter school is much like that. I'm sorry, I should say the mission. Sorry, the vision. The mission is much like that of the other iLead schools that you're familiar with, which exist at this time, which is iLead Lancaster and also iLead Antelope Valley. The difference with our school is the fact that there will be an emphasis on the arts and technology. What will make that different than what's already being offered is the fact that it will have a CTE component and will be really focused on kids being able to gain skills to actually choose a career in the entertainment industry. The vision for this is an opportunity for learners to combine that artistic technology along with their academic skills by connecting them to professionals working in the field currently. We have amazing connections with folks in Hollywood that have already agreed to come down and work with kids, mentor with learners, and to really help to make a rich program. Whom will we serve? Well, currently there is 131 learners at AV iLead and also at Lancaster iLead who are looking to matriculate to high school. Our experience is, and I just ran a large summer youth program this last summer, is that many of the parents will end up driving their kids to SCVI in Santa Clarita, which is an iLead school in Santa Clarita, or into one of the schools in the valley. So there are parents that are driving back and forth. I think we even have Nicole Kent, who told me the other day that she drives her daughter to the Valley every single day. So there needs to be some opportunities, additional opportunities for kids who may not necessarily do so well in the comprehensive school model. And so those are the young people that will be serving. These are the enrollment projections. We're looking at 150 young people to begin the program with, 300 after 2 years, and 400 at full capacity in 3 years. So we're talking a small school. It's not a large comprehensive school. It's not going to be in competition with any of the existing schools that are doing so well right now. This is what we call a boutique. That's Amanda came up with that phrase. I think that's a great description of it as a boutique school. It's based on project-based learning. Students work on a project and they learn all of the necessary skills through a project. And the data has shown to us that these kids do better on standardized tests, especially if they're these types of learners. What's unique about it is not only that it's going to be the arts, but it's also going to be centered in technology. Virtual reality is one of the main vehicles for getting that information out. As we've all been locked up for the last 2 years, we understand what it is to have a virtual connection with people on the outside. This will actually specialize with this. I think after the last 2 years, education will not be the same forever. There will be huge changes that will take place over the next couple of years just because of the experience that we've just gone through. In terms of capacity, the state of California requires all the same requirements of us as they do you as a district, financial, employee services, all the regular things that you expect. ILEAD has been doing that. They have 9 schools right now, have been doing that for many, many years. And so that is a given with this school.
What does a School of the Arts and Technology look like? The arts are often the thread that weaves together the integration of subjects to develop real-world projects that further a student's love of learning. We know that learners who participate in the arts in high school have better attendance, are far less likely to drop out, and are also more likely to attend college and complete a bachelor's degree. It will look like a unique, balanced mix of the movies Fame, The Matrix, and Star Trek's holodeck, combined within the metaverse of the future, which has already begun among companies like Apple, Facebook, Google, and Oculus. It's being used to train folks who are getting ready to go out into, for real, outer space. It's being used in the aerospace industry to train pilots and a variety of other occupations that demand that a learner or a student can really experience a situation and be able to handle themselves accordingly to whatever situation that they run into. CTE within the performing arts sectors, live music, theater, and dance. In other words, live theater, film, and other media presented in virtual, augmented, and mixed reality, and the metaverse.
That concludes our presentation, and I would like to now open up for questions. We also have Mr. King and Amanda Fisher and Don Evanson to assist us in answering questions.
Do any members of the board have questions?
Sure, I have a question, and I understand that your focus is on the arts, but you just make sure we understand you will be teaching English, science, math, all those other subjects in addition.
All Common Core standards, all of it will be taught.
And as much as possible, it will be integrated within the arts, meeting all the state standards as they are.
Any other comments from the board? Mr. Martinez?
Yes, this is Dr. Ruffin. Where would the campus be located?
Currently, we are looking at a facility on the corner of 20th Street West and Lancaster Boulevard, which is currently a Growing Valley Church. And we're working with them right now on an agreement to house the charter school there.
Okay, thank you.
If we have no other comments from the board, then I want to thank you for your presentation. And we'll now take comments from members of the public who wish to speak in favor of the charter petition. As previously noted, a total time of 10 minutes will be allocated, with each speaker having up to 3 minutes to make comments. So the first section is comments from speakers in favor. Do we have any speakers, Mr. Roscoe?
Yes, we have 5 speakers in support.
Okay, the first one.
We have Margaret Wasner.
Hello, esteemed board members. I'm Margaret Wasner, longtime AV resident, arts supporter, Cedar Street Theater board member, and employee of the I-Lead Charter Schools organization. During the Just Say No anti-drug campaign era, a fellow educator friend of mine said, in order for children to just say no, we have to provide them with something to say yes to. You just heard a proposal for an arts and technologies charter high school. I believe that this is exactly what some high school students would enthusiastically be able to say yes to. Our charter school provides project-based learning, promoting academic growth and deeper learning through the holistic approach of project development and presentations. This type of learning is not for everyone, but our learners choose our schools because this approach appeals to them and their families. As I-Lead's ballroom dance team's coach when we could still touch each other, and as a teacher who made, the arts and technology a part of every project that I developed for my students, I saw and see firsthand the need for young burgeoning artists to explore their gifts. When learners leave our I-Lead kindergarten through 8th grade schools to enter high school, we'd like to provide them with a continuation of project-based learning and with the arts and technology as an exciting focus. Our Valley home is home to many, many talented kids, some of whom are ready to devote themselves to cultivating their artistic talents and passions during their high school career. Our AV high schools do provide opportunities for arts education, and we're not trying to take kids away from that, but instead allow our passionate learners who have been successful in PBL to carry on into high school. We hope you will allow them this incredible arts-infused opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Understanding that we do not have any speakers in opposition, is that correct, Ms. Roscoe?
That's correct.
So, but we have 5
Yes.
that want to speak in favor.
Yes.
So let's just go ahead and have all 5, still keeping the 3 minutes. And Mr. Fernald, are you keeping time? Okay. So the next speaker would be?
Nicole Kent.
Hello. I'm Nicole Kent. I'm the school director at I-Lead Lancaster. You saw so many pretty pictures of my campus on your screen. We're a K-8 charter school right down the street, and I am in favor of I-Lead Synergy. We need a place for our learners to matriculate to. Traditionally, our students don't go to any of the neighborhood schools. Like Derek was saying, they usually leave the Valley. They go to our sister's campus in Santa Clarita, but we want somewhere for them to go locally and stay in our Valley up here. This over the past few years, we've worked with Derek, and this is how we kind of budded this program, was thinking about what is in the interest of our learners. And So we started doing some things where they did some VR classes, as you saw in the video. They did some acting classes, they did some arts classes, they had some performances, and we saw such an interest for our learners. And so it's something that we would love to continue to do. Where I lost my place. So I just want to say, please, please, please approve the school for somewhere for my ladies to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Please. Emma Yarbinski.
Hi, my name is Emma Yarvinsky, and I'm an iLead Lancaster 7th grader, and I have been an iLead learner since I was in kindergarten. iLead is like a safe space. I know at least 6 facilitators that I would trust with my life. You can really connect with your teachers, facilitators, creating a strong bond that I don't think you could find anywhere else. I'm still in contact with all of my previous facilitators with the exception of one. They are not just facilitators, they are family. At iLead, I strive to be the best me possible while my facilitators are pushing me to be even greater than that. Even during the pandemic and distance learning, we were still working on our projects, and I was able to receive 300 toys for my Children's Hospital Los Angeles toy drive, and currently I'm trying to lobby Congress to put a cap on insulin prices. I never would have thought to do something like this if it wasn't for my school. iLead has taught me so much more than the basic math, science, and history. At iLead, you learn about the bigger picture, how to socialize, synergize, problem solve, and the importance to speak our minds. iLead also teaches you about how to be a part of the real world by helping you fill out job applications, be a part of healthy debates, take action, and to be leaders. At iLead, I am able to express my creativity in an open and accepting environment. At a young age, we are taught to find our passion. My passion is acting. I'm a child actor, and I have been a child actor since I was 3. iLead is super accommodating, and they understand that it is my passion. When I am an adult, I want to continue to act and expand my acting to writing and directing. Before I heard talk about the iLead High School, I was at a loss of where I would go for high school. An iLead High School would be a great addition to our community because at a regular public high school, you learn about the world, but at iLead, you learn how to change it.
Latora Saxton.
Hi, everybody. Are you guys excited? I want to borrow whoever else's time that was left over. I'll take Nicole's minute. I can talk all day about iLead. iLead, I want to speak from a space of I am a parent at iLead. I'm so fired up. Like she said, having people that care about these babies. I love people, and I love, I sit in so many different capacities. Number one, I've been in this valley for the last 35 years. I know, I only look 21. Also, my husband is a pastor in Palmdale. So I have a passion and a heart for people, especially our young people. And one of the best things that we follow is when you're moved with compassion, you can do amazing things. I've never seen people who are more moved with compassion when it comes to the education and the well-being of a whole child. I'm so excited for what's to come because when I was younger, I'm the oldest of 5 kids. All of us are different. All of us learn differently. When growing up in this valley, there was never an option for each one of us and our diverse ways in how we learn. I'm excited to be a part of the iLead family as a founding member. Sorry, y'all, I can't talk with this mask on. As a founding member, because I've seen all of the great things, not just from an educational. So number one, if you see me and my husband when we decided to send our kids to iLead, my husband was like, absolutely not. That's a new finagle school. No. And I was like, but I think it can be great because the leadership there is great. I met the people and the teachers are happy. So my husband said, we'll try it, but just know I got a plan B for us. What I love is that my son now is 14. He started in TK. My daughter now is 12. She started in TK. They had the mission is inspired to lead and free to think, right? And you look at these thinkers, these incredible builders, these incredible young people who are changing the world, like little Emma. She's not so little anymore. I'm looking at her and seeing how much she's thrived in just a short period of time since my kids have been at the school. My son has all done, if you look at ILEAD, international leadership, entrepreneurial, arts, and design thinking. My son has started a business. How about that? Started a business and it serves the community. They had a teacher that suffered from cancer. God rest her soul, Miss Tina passed. And before she passed, they raised money for her.
30 seconds.
I love that there are kids that are thinking outside of the box. When you come to a school and you have teachers that really, really care and learners that are really, really learning, I want a place where my kids can continue with that type of learning, that type of experience, because I'm thinking about the future. I'm thinking about this next. And I want our babies to have a space that they can go and they can have what they have at ILEAD. So please say yes to this school because it matters, our future matters, and our babies need a place where they can see themselves and fit in.
Greg Johnson.
Good evening, board. Thank you very much for giving me the honor of speaking this evening. My name is Greg Johnson. I am the program manager for the Arts Education Collective, which is part of the Arts Education Division of the Los Angeles County Department of Arts and Culture. I am a specialist in arts education. I am an artist myself, having 2 degrees from California Institute of the Arts. I am also a 20-year resident of Antelope Valley. My son graduated from Quartz Hill. And I have had the privilege of being the liaison to all the supervisorial district number 5 districts who received grants from the Arts Education Collective called the Advancement Grant, including the ABU-HSD, and I helped ABU-HSD develop their arts plan, which I'm sure you helped to approve. That plan resulted in the Advancement Grant being offered for over the past 3 to 5 years and has made significant improvements in the arts in ABUSD. I know about the arts. I can attest to the fact that ILEAD is a high quality, it's integrated, arts integrated system. How do I know that? Because I was liaison, I did site districts at all the ILEAD schools for the years that they were receiving the advancement grant. What does that mean? I toured their facilities, I looked at their curriculum, I met their teachers, I met with the students, I've been through Santa Clarita, I've been through the ILEAD in Lancaster. I know very well that what is being offered by ILEAD is unsurpassed, and it does involve what we want to promote, which is creativity, critical thinking, social emotional learning, equity, and the ability for students to be engaged passionately in technology and the arts. Why is that important? Well, if you haven't looked at the Otis report on the creative economy, let me just throw a couple of numbers. California is $650 billion. Okay, that's the creative economy. 2.7 million jobs generated. 209 billion labor income. Let's just talk about Los Angeles. $203 billion just in Los Angeles. That's creative economy. 67 billion labor income. How are we going to prepare students to be part of the creative economy if we don't offer performing arts high schools, visual arts, performing arts and technology? We do not have that base covered. Although I support ABU-HSD wholeheartedly, and I believe this would be a fantastic way to improve the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Conclude our speakers, list of speakers. The public hearing on the ILEAD Synergy School of Performing Arts and Technology Charter petition is now closed. And we will move on to educational services, item B, which is a review proposed administrative regulation AR 4217.3 layoff, rehire, first read and discussion. They have is this a voting?
This is not, these are, they.
Just for
all of these are-
discussion? Do I have any board members that would like to make a comment on item B, educational services? Hearing none, this is a first read, and we will move on to item C, which is educational services review curriculum guide ESS English 9 first read also. Do I have any Board of Trustees members who would like to make comments?
And this one, items E through F can be done together if you like.
Item E
Through F. I'm sorry, C through F.
C through F. Okay, well, is that okay with board members? Anybody have an objection?
Yes.
Okay, so we will do that. C through F are all educational services review curriculum guide ESS English 9, 10, 11, and 12. And they are all first reads for discussion only. Do I have any comments from the board on any of these? Hearing none, we'll move to item 8. Business services action item A, conduct public hearing school facility needs analysis. It's recommended that the Board of Trustees open, conduct, and close the public hearing on resolution number 2021-22-16. Item 1 under that is open public hearing at 6:42. Comments from staff is item 2. Mr. Hopkins?
Yes, thank you. This is following up, no, I'm sorry. This has to do with our school facility needs analysis, or better known as our developer fees. So we'll be, we had a report commissioned from Key Analytics, and I think you have a copy of that report. And it was completed on January 19th, and it looks at our development. And one of the oddities, I guess, for us in this year is that the developer fees will be decreasing from about $2.32 down to $2. And the reason for the decrease is that the new home construction, the families moving in are younger. They don't have a high school student. So what happens is we have what's called our student generation rate per household. So it only looks at new homes and how many students those new homes generated for our school district, high school students. And it actually has gone down because I think we've seen younger families moving in to these new homes. So that has decreased our developer fees from about $2.30 a foot to about $2 a foot. Things will change. They had been rising up until this year. So as the economy and things move forward, it will certainly fluctuate. But that is the net result for this next fiscal year. Our level 2 developer fees will be at $2 per foot. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have or questions from the public.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions from the board members? Anyone have any questions? Do we have any comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Okay, hearing none, we will close the public hearing at 6:44. Item B is adoption of resolution number 2021-22-16 approving a school facility needs analysis. SFNA, adopting school facility fees in compliance with government code section 65995.5, 65995.6, and 65995.7, and making related findings and determinations.
Motion.
Thank you. Second. I have a motion by Mr. Rush and a second by Ms. Pearl. Do we have any discussion? Anybody have any questions, concerns? Hearing none, we'll call for the question. Sorry. Ms. Perrell, how do you vote? I'm sorry, I forgot Mr. Martinez. Mr. Martinez, how do you vote? Aye. Dr. Ruffin,
Yes.
Ms. McGrady,
Yes.
Ms. Lynch.
Yes.
And Ms. Wynn is a yes. The item passes by a 5-0 vote with our student board member voting yes. Item C, contract for bond election consulting services. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the attached contract for services from Terrace, Barnes, Walters, Oregon, Heath, and Lister, a California corporation, DBA TBWBH, propositions and measures, and authorize Assistant Superintendent Brian Hawkins to execute the contract on behalf of the district. May I have a motion? Motion. May I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Perrell and a second by Ms. McGrady. Do we have any discussion? Board members? Anyone? Hearing none. Having a motion and a second, we will now take a vote. Student board member. Ms. Perrell? Dr. Ruffin?
Yes.
Ms. McGrady?
Aye.
Mr. Rush?
No.
And Ms. Wynn is a yes. The motion passes by a vote of 4-1 with Mr. Rush saying no. Yeah, and our student board members voting yes. Item D, change order number 8, bid number 4, 2021-176, Holston Building Remodel. It's recommended that the Board of Trustees approve a change order number 8 to Gary Little Construction Incorporated and authorize Brian Hawkins to execute the change order on behalf of the district. May I have a motion? Motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Perrell and a second by Ms. McGrady. Discussion. Mr. Hawkins, do you anticipate this being our last change order? Oh, no comment. Okay, so. Anybody have any questions, concerns? Any other board members have anything they want to add? Hearing none, student board member, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Perrell? Aye. Dr. Ruffin?
No.
Ms. McGrady? Aye. Mr. Rush?
Yes.
Ms. Wynn? Yes. The motion passes by a vote of 4-1 with Dr. Ruffin dissenting. Item 9, Administrative Services Action Item, Adoption of Board Resolution number 2021-22-17, Affirmation of February as African American History Month. May I have a motion? Motion. I have a motion by Ms. Perrell, a second by Mr. Rush. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt resolution number 2021-22-17, Affirmation of February as African American History Month as presented. Does anybody have it pulled up? I'm sorry, I don't have it pulled. The declaration. Do you have it, Mr. Meehan?
I can get it for you.
Would you mind, because I'd really like to read it out loud. Again, I feel that it's always important if we can take the vote though. Student board member, how do you vote? Aye. Ms. Perrell? Aye. Dr. Ruffin?
Yes.
Ms. McGrady?
Aye.
Mr. Rush?
Aye.
And Ms. Wynn is an aye. Motion passes with a vote of 5-0, student board member voting aye. Thank you, Mr. Rush. Thank you very much. Antelope Valley Union High School District, Lancaster, California, resolution number 2021-22-17. Affirmation of February as African American History Month. Whereas African American History Month permits society and schools to celebrate the achievements of African Americans, and whereas the Antelope Valley Union High School District recognizes that each student needs an opportunity to understand the common humanity and underlying all people, to develop pride in his or her own identity and heritage, and to understand, respect, and accept the identity and heritage of others. Whereas the observance permits society to re-examine its role in preserving the civil rights of all citizens. And whereas corresponding school activities held during this month encourage students to continue to strive for the best education as a means to fulfill their potential. And whereas achievements of African Americans have benefited all mankind, and whereas the history, social science framework for California public schools, kindergarten through grade 12, states that the history curriculum of community, state, region, nation, and world must reflect the experiences of men and women and of different racial, religious, and ethnic groups, and must be integrated at every level. Therefore, be it resolved by the governing board of the Antelope Valley Union High School District that February is designated African American History Month, adopted this 19th day of January 2022 by the Antelope Valley Union High School District Board of Trustees. I know last year we had many activities throughout the district, and I was impressed by some of the ones that especially the ones that just delve deeply into absence. Are you taking?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe is there 3 more for you to read?
There's 2 more.
Oh, I didn't know that. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Oh,
Jill has them.
Okay, well, I'm.
And I understand that we will be getting a list of different activities throughout the district.
That is correct.
I hope that our board has opportunities to attend and take a look at how African American History Month is being celebrated. Okay, the next item. And normally we have board members read the different proclamations, but this time, since it's my first meeting as getting that chance to read them, I would like to read them. So yes. Item B is adoption of board resolution number 2021-22-18 Career Technical Education Month resolution. It's recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt resolution 2021-22-18 as February 2022 Career Technical Education Month. May I have a motion? Motion. Second. I have a motion by Ms. Pearl and a second by Ms. McGrady. Do I have a discussion? Having a motion and a second, we will now vote. Student board member, how do you vote? Aye. Ms. Pearl? Aye. Dr. Ruffin?
Yes.
Ms. McGrady?
Aye.
Mr. Rush?
Yes.
And Ms. Wynn is an aye as well. So with motion passes 5-0 with student board member voting yes. Antelope Valley Union High School District Board Resolution 2021-22-18 Career and Technical Education Month. Whereas February 2022 has been designated Career and Technical Education Month by the Association for Career and Technical Education, and whereas Career and Technical Education offers students the opportunity to gain the academic, technical, and employability skills necessary for career and college readiness. And whereas students in career and technical education programs participate in authentic, relevant experiences that increase student engagement and achievement, and whereas career and technical education provides students with career exploration opportunities which enable them to make informed decisions about their academic, technical coursework in relationship to their education and career paths as part of established programs of study and career pathways. And whereas business and industry leaders report increasing challenges related to the knowledge and skills gap in connecting qualified professionals with available careers in critical and growing CTE industry sectors, including those which have a STEM focus. And whereas career and technical education prepares students for careers by offering integrated programs of study that link secondary and post-secondary education and could lead to the allotment of industry recognized credentials and degrees. And whereas ensuring that the employers have access to educated and skilled workforce that meets their current and future needs, trends in a crucial step in ensuring productivity among the business and industry communities, as well as continued national economic growth and global competitiveness. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Antelope Valley Union High School District recognizes the contribution of career technical education to student achievement, quality of life, and regional economic development, supports efforts for the community to become familiar with the economic and educational benefits offered by the career and technical education programs in the district, and to support and participate in these programs, and encourages the region to take part in events that highlight the district's CTE programs and students and honor the CTE month celebration today. Celebrate today, own tomorrow. Invites faculty and administration to share stories of leadership and excellence from the local CTE programs and raise awareness of the crucial role that CTE plays by preparing our students for careers and our nation for economic success. In testimony whereof I have hereto set my hand this 19th day of January 2022. And the next item on our agenda is item C, which is adoption of board resolution number 2021-22-19, National School Counseling Week. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt a resolution number 2021-22-19, National School Counseling Week as presented. May I have a motion? Motion. Second. I have a motion by Ms. Burrell and a second by Ms. McBrady. Any discussion? Any board members have discussion on National School Counseling Week? Having a motion and a second, we will now vote. Student board member, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Board, Ms. Burrell? Aye. Dr. Ruffin?
Yes.
Ms. McBrady? Aye. Mr. Rush?
Aye.
Ms. Wayne is an aye. Motion passes 5-0 with student board member voting yes. And Antelope Valley Union High School District, Lancaster, California, National School Counseling Week, February 7th through February 11th, 2022, resolution number 2021-22-19. Because the school counselors are employed in public and private schools to help students reach their full potential, and whereas school counselors are actively committed to helping students explore their abilities, their strengths, their interests and talents, as these traits relate to career awareness and development. Whereas school counselors help parents focus on ways to further educational, personal, and social growth of their children. And whereas school counselors work with teachers and other educators to help students explore their potential and set realistic goals for themselves. And whereas school counselors seek to identify and utilize community resources that can enhance and supplement comprehensive school counseling programs and help students become productive members of society. And whereas comprehensive development school counseling programs are considered an integral part of the educational process that enables all students to achieve success in school. Be it resolved that all school counselors be commended for the contributions they make to successful student achievement, and adopted this 19th day of January 2022 by the Antelope Valley Union High School District Board of Trustees. Thank you for allowing me the privilege of reading those motions. Item 11 is, we're to our consent agenda. Category, educational services.
Item 10A, right? You said item 11?
I meant item 11. Consent agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Dr. Ruffin. I'm sorry, I turned the page. Can A, approve items listed on the following consent agenda categories: educational services, student services, personnel services, business services, and administrative services. Actions proposed for the consent agenda are items consistent with adopted policies and approved practices of the district and are deemed routine in nature. The board will be asked to approve all of the items in the consent agenda by a single vote, unless any member of the board asks that an item be removed from the consent agenda to be considered and discussed separately. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the items listed in the following consent agenda categories: educational services, student services, personnel services, business services, and administrative services as presented. To get this open for discussion, may I have a motion? Motion. Second. I have a motion by Ms. Pearl and a second by Ms. McGrady. Discussion. Anyone have any discussion?
Yes, Ms. Nguyen, I would like to remove 5 items.
Okay.
The first item is 13B, and that's for discussion and a separate vote. The next item for, and these next 4 are just for a vote. It is 14C.
Okay.
And then under item 14G as in George, I would like to pull 3 items under that section. Under 14G as in George, 3 items under that section on page 4. It's item number 22-02932. I'll say it again, 22-02932. And on page 5, it's item number 22-02944. That's 22-02944. And then under direct pay is the very next page. It does not have a number to signify the actual article, but it's D as in David, P as in Paul, 22-00203.
And may I ask, are these items under G for discussion or separate vote?
All of the items for the number 2, my second one, 14C, is for a separate vote. 14G, those 3 are also for a vote. So if you would like, we can have the discussion on and the vote separate for 13 point B, and then for 14C, 14G, you could just clump them all together. I just want to vote separate on those.
Okay, is that all, or is there anything else? That's it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
For me, I don't know if anybody else has something they want to pull.
Anybody have anything else they'd like to pull for discussion or vote? Hearing none. Item 15B was for discussion. Was that correct?
Discussion and a separate vote.
I was going to include 13 because she only wants to discuss it.
She asked for a separate vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay.
I said discussion and separate vote, Ms. Nguyen. Sorry about that.
Okay. I'm sorry, misunderstood. Okay, then let's do that. Let's go ahead and vote on everything else, and then we will pull item 13B, 14C, and 14G, and have a separate discussion and vote on those. Do I need a new motion in a second?
No,
not for this. Okay. Let's take the vote. Mr. Martinez.
Aye.
Ms. Pearl. Aye. Dr. Ruffin.
Just for clarification, this is for 14C and 14G, right?
No, this is for everything else other than.
Oh, okay. I thought we already voted on that. Everything else, yes.
Okay. Ms. McGrady? Aye. Mr. Rush? Sorry. Ms. Nguyen is an aye, and so the motion passes with our student board by a vote of 5-0, with our student board member voting aye. Now we're at 13B. Dr. Ruffin?
Yeah, so for the discussion of this, I actually had a chance to talk to Mr. Nehan in regards to this. I had a concern about, because it's a personnel issue, of course, I'm not going to mention the individual's names, but it's an individual who's listed under the DO as an employee. And it's of grave concern because we have two district teachers who went to court on November the 18th and submitted to the judge that in paperwork that this individual does not work for the district. I'm concerned because the complaint that was filed against a parent in the sum of $20,000 was based on the premise that a teacher did not get a promotion in the district because of something that a parent said. And according to Mr. Nehan, that individual still works for our district. And as you can see, either the two teachers who came to court and made such statement and provided that information to the judge under perjury, either committed perjury, or we as a board are paying a salary of a employee that is not work currently in the city or working in the district. So that was my discussion in regards to that for the record, and I would like to vote differently on this matter.
Would you like to separate 13 and 14, so vote separately just on number 13B?
No, it's so if it's okay with, if that's the only one that I needed a discussion on, but all of the other ones, I'm gonna take a vote too. So if we want to clump them all together right now, it's great because I'm gonna have the same vote for all.
Okay.
And so just to clarify, item 13B is provided for board's information only. It doesn't require any action. So.
Oh, okay.
So the discussion is taking place.
So we don't need.
Well, I was just voting no on that one. That's why I put it.
But it's
So
not.
all the ones that I put, I want to vote no on those.
It is not up for a vote tonight. This is for information only tonight.
Okay.
No, I believe that it was an item in the consent agenda. And that consent agenda item, I said I pulled it for a vote and discussion. I am not discussing, I'm not asking the board to determine how they're going to deal with the information. My whole point of pulling item 13B is because it's an item that the board is voting on. So I agreed to vote on everything else as a consent item. And for this item, when I pulled it, I explicitly said this was for a separate vote for me. So I wanted to vote and have a discussion about it. I'm not saying that this is for the board to make a decision about what I said. That was just a part of the discussion. So each one of these items is for me to take a vote, for the board to take a vote, because I'm having a separate vote on these 5 items that I positioned.
We would need a motion and a second then.
I move.
I'm sorry, what did you say? You move
Yes.
the motion? May I have
Yes.
a second?
Yes. And just to clarify, a yes vote would be to accept the information, and no vote would be to not accept the information.
Right. Well, yes, they already voted on the entire agenda. I'm just voting no on these.
Okay. We can proceed with the vote.
Do I have a second from someone?
We need to actually vote on this. Is that?
Whether you're accepting the information or not
Accepting it,
accepting
so
the
we
information.
need, so I will second it.
Okay.
Because we need to vote on it.
We have a second by Ms. McGrady. We have a motion by Dr. Ruffin and a second by Ms. McGrady.
And so clarify for us one more time, which is which.
So a yes vote is you're accepting this information, and a no vote is you're not accepting this information.
Okay.
Okay, call for the vote.
Wait, I'm voting no. What did you say the no was? Because I'm voting no to not accept item 13B. So if they vote, right.
That's correct. A no vote is not accepting this as information.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Martinez, how do you vote?
Does it change anything in the world if we don't even, if we vote yes or no? I mean, what?
It only matters because it was pulled by a board member for a separate vote.
Okay.
So if it was under consent agenda, it still would have been under a vote.
Thanks.
Anything else? Okay, we're going to call for the vote. Mr. Martinez. Ms. Pearl. Dr. Ruffin.
No.
Ms. McGrady.
Aye.
Mr. Rush.
Yes.
And Ms. Nguyen is a yes. Motion, I don't know. Yeah, with a 4-1 vote with our student board member voting yes. Okay, now we'll move to item 14C, the resolution of acceptance and notice of completion on the Holston building remodel bid. Number.
So Ms. Nguyen, 14, I don't know if we can put these all together, 14C and 14G. I just wanted to pull those items out so that I can vote separately. And I would move, if it's the same process as we just did before, I would move that we accept it as a vote, ask for a second, and then I just want to, we can vote on them all together. You guys can vote yes on all 4 of those, and I can just vote no on all 4 of those, if it makes it easier.
That means when we can vote on all 3 of those together with a motion and a second. We can.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, on the motion by Mr. Rush and the second by Ms. McGrady for items 14C. And for the public, I would like to read 14G is business services purchase order and direct pay schedule. So, and there's specific ones that Dr. Ruffin has specified out of 14G. The rest were all approved in the consent agenda vote. So I have any discussion? Dr. Ruffin, would you like to?
No discussion, just a vote. Thank you.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote.
No, I'd like to know.
Okay.
02932. So it is 22-02932.
That is a legal ad for Antelope Valley Press.
Okay. What's the other one?
The other one is the Holston phone system. If it's 944 for Kenneth Hands.
So that's so we can have phones at the new building?
Yes.
Okay.
And there is a direct pay to the Antelope Valley Press for the Hall of Fame ad.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Well, I didn't know that.
Thank you. We're going to take a vote. Mr. Martinez, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Pearl? Aye. Ms. McGrady?
Aye.
Mr. Rush?
Yes.
And Ms. Nguyen is a yes as well. Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Ruffin.
Oh, I said no already, Miss Nguyen. That's great. No.
You did. Thank you. And so the motion passes 4-1 with our student board member voting yes. So number 16 is comments from the board superintendent. I'd like to start with Mr. Martinez. Do you have any comments? All right.
Very quickly, I just want to say I was the second graduating class from night prep. I attended second year was open. I then was able to get into the Digital Design Engineering Academy. So I was in it for 3 years and it brought amazing opportunities. I was able to do a Northrop Grumman internship for 2 years. I'm currently still in it and I can keep going into the summer as well, into a paid internship. And this was basically all through night prep and prepping me for high school. So I love night prep. It was a great school. I met all my friends there, like the former student board member Eli Johnson. He also went there. That's where we met. I thought it was a great experience and it prepared me for the academy. Thank you.
Mr. Martinez, it's always a pleasure to hear from you. Thank you. Ms. Pearl?
Yes, I just wanted to say I really appreciate all the presentations, very informative, especially iLead. It kind of brings back my godsons. They're in a charter over in Pomona. So hearing some information from what you have to offer is rather amazing. So really, I do appreciate all the information that you gave, and also thank you to all the teachers, staff, and administrators for all the hard work you guys been doing through this coming back from the pandemic.
Thank you. Ms. McGrady.
I'd just like to say welcome back for 2022. Can you believe that? Like I again too would like to thank all of our employees for everything you're doing, for stepping up during these trying times. We appreciate all of your difficult work. We say goodbye to Mr. Dan Shy tonight. And when to Mr. Shy, I don't know if he's still here or not, but we want him to know that we appreciate all of his many years of service as a teacher and also a valued union leader. We are also saying goodbye to Dr. Steve Radford tonight. He has been hired at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City as an assistant commissioner of workforce development. Dr. Radford has been with us for I have to look at it, 24 years, 7 of them as a teacher, the others as an administrator, the last 9 as a principal. And I'm going to miss you. We say goodbye and thank you for your service to our district. And then just finally, it is Ms. Wynn's birthday tonight, and I think we all at least need to shout out happy birthday to her right now. Happy birthday!
What is it, the saying, the birth dates and the years don't matter, it's only a matter of mind. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. I can say that, can't I? My birthday. Oh, okay. Mr.
No, I'd just like to say goodbye to Steve and Stan Shy. Thank you for your dedicated service to the district over the years. Dan, you too, but you snuck out already. Beginning of the new semester, and good luck, and we'll see what happens.
Thank you. I'm going to make a brief comment, and then Mr. Meehan.
Doc, I would like to make my
comment. Dr. Ruffin, I'm so sorry. You're not on our screen, and I like it when you're on our screen.
I have 2 phones up. Sorry, Miss Wynn. Okay, so I wanted to really give homage to, we had a holiday yesterday, and that was for Dr. Martin Luther King on Monday. And one of his most famous quotes that he said is, "The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education." I wanted to put that out there. I also wanted to give a real special shout out to the counselors. I know that they've been working exceptionally hard with our students, helping them with college, getting kids in classes, shifting around. I want to give a shout out to a special teacher. I can't call her out by name at Knight High School. I do want her to know that I'm quite sure the other board members will agree. This individual has lost, several people to COVID, has a relative in the hospital, and this teacher shows up every day to do and to deliver all that she can. So I know that this is probably one of many stories of how our families and community is being impacted, but I do want to send out some special blessings and know that all of your hard work is very much appreciated. And I want to send some special thanks to the class of 2022. You guys have been in this COVID thing for 2 years, and this is your senior year. So stay focused, stay strong. This is your last semester, and I hope that we can do everything in our power as a district to make it as memorable for you as possible. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Ruffin. My comments are just brief. I read the resignations and retirements at the end of our personnel schedule, and I just hate to read them actually, because that means a lot of people and friends and what I consider the Antelope Valley Union High School District family are leaving. And I wish them well, of course. Mr. Radford, Dr. Radford, I wish you well. I know you all come back and visit us now and then. I hope to be included in those visits sometimes. Mr. Shy, have worked and enjoyed working with him in my previous 13 and a half years. I will miss working with him as well. And but we have good people coming on too. And I know that they'll achieve and bring a great amount of service to the Antelope Valley Union High School District that will help our students. Mr. Meehan.
Thank you. Just want to start out by expressing deep gratitude for everyone who's been supporting our students through this pandemic, and specifically through the surge since we've come back to the second semester. Our parents for their patience and understanding, our students for their perseverance, and our staff for how they just continue to teach kids. All of the contact tracing, all of the additional work that's involved, they continue to teach kids, and that's teachers and staff, and very grateful for that. And I also want to say on last Sunday at the Lancaster Performing Arts Center, I attended the Justice Sunday production by our students. I always blown away by the courage of our students, the creativity of our students, and their ability to just continue to develop and produce. There is an encore presentation this Friday. It's not Justice Friday, still Justice Sunday, but 7 p.m. at the Palmdale Playhouse. There is no ticket price for entry. So I encourage anyone who's available to go out and see the fantastic work of our students. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so excited it's back. And I missed it as well. I didn't attend this one. I intend to attend the Palmdale one, but I'm glad that it's back in person. Okay, we move on to item 17, which is closed session report out of action taken. Board members present was Ms. Perrell, Ms. McGrady, Mr. Rush, Ms. Flynn. Board members absent was Dr. Ruffin. You are able to, and then for this part, I want to make sure, Dr. Ruffin, are you still with us? Dr. Ruffin?
I didn't hear what you said. Say it again.
Oh, I just wanted to make sure you were still with us.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't hear what you said. I heard you say I was absent, even though I remain in closed session. I remain in open session when you guys are in closed session. But did you ask me a specific question?
No, I didn't. I just wanted to make sure you were still with us. And
oh, I am.
I don't have your, usually your picture's on our screen and it's not. So I don't know whether you're with us or not. So thank you.
I'm gonna have to work with Greg or somebody. I can't figure out how to put my picture on the district phone.
Okay, well, we can work that out, can't we, Mr. Allen? There you are, thank you. Item A, conference with labor negotiator, government code section 54957.6, and the board took no action. Item B, public employee discipline, dismissed, release, reassignment, non-reelect, and the board took no action. Item C was public employee appointment, government code 54957, titled Director 1, Educational Services. During closed session, the board considered an employee appointment titled Director 1, Education Services. On a motion by Ms. McGrady and a second by Mr. Rush, the board appointed Dr. Will Laird as Director 1, Education. By the following vote, Ms. Perrell was a yes, Dr. Ruffin was absent, Ms. McGrady, yes, Mr. Rush, yes, Ms. Wynn was a yes. Then the item passes by a vote of 4-0. Item D, public employee appointment, government code 54957, title Director 2, categorical and special programs. During closed session, the board considered an employee appointment titled Director 2, categorical and special programs. On a motion by Mr. Rush and a second by Ms. Perrell, the board appointed Dr. Robert Harris. Are you here?
Yep.
Yes. Categorical and special programs by the following vote. Ms. Perrell was a yes, Dr. Ruffin was absent, Ms. McGrady was a yes, Mr. Rush was a yes, Ms. Wynn, yes, and the item passed by a vote of 4-0. Item E, public employee settlement and release agreement. During closed session, the board considered employee settlement agreement PS number 2021-22-07 Pursuant to Government Code Section 54957 on a motion by Mr. Rush and a second by Ms. McGrady, or Ms. Perrell, I'm sorry. The board approved the agreement by the following vote. Ms. Perrell was a yes. Dr. Ruffin was absent. Ms. Wing was a yes. Mr. Rush was a yes. Ms. McGrady, yes. And the item passed by a vote of 4-0. Item F, Educational Services request to waive healthful living on a motion by Mr. Rush. A second by Ms. Perrell. The board approved the request by the following vote. Ms. Perrell was a yes. Dr. Ruffin was absent. Ms. Wing was yes. Mr. Rush was yes. Ms. Brady was yes. And the item passed by a vote of 4-0. And this one we vote on out here, item G, which is an administrative hearing panel. May I please have a motion to approve administrative hearing panel recommendations for student expulsions and to order as presented the expulsion of one student.
Motion.
Second.
Motion.
Who was that? And with a motion by Ms. Pearl and a second by Ms. McGrady. Did I get that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Having a motion and a second, we will now vote. Ms. Pearl? Aye. Dr. Ruffin?
No.
Ms. McGrady?
Yes.
Mr. Rush?
Yes.
Ms. Wynn is a yes, and the item passes by a vote of 4-1. And page 3, item 14, final settlement and release agreement. Number STS number -22-084 OAH case number 20211-10219. During the closed session, the board considered final settlement and release agreement STS 22-084 case number 2021110. I'm sorry, 19. On a motion by Ms. Perrell and a second by Mr. Rush, the board approved the final settlement agreement. Ms. Perrell voted yes. Dr. Ruffin was absent. Ms. McGrady was a yes. Mr. Rush was a yes, and Ms. Wynn was a yes. The item passed by a vote of 4-0. Item I, final compromise and release agreement STS-22-085 OH case number 20210-90800. During closed session, the board considered final compromise and release agreement. On a motion by Ms. Perrell and a second by Ms. Brady, it was approved. Ms. Perrell voted yes. Dr. Ruffin was absent. Ms. McGrady voted yes. Mr. Rush was a yes. Ms. Wynn was a yes, and the item passed by a vote of 4-0. Item J, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. The board took no action. Okay. Guess what?
Do you have another proclamation?
I have another. I'm gonna read them again, just so you know. Sorry. Oh. The board would like to adjourn the meeting tonight in memory of Carl Bledsoe and Richard Spadoni. Carl Bledsoe was hired as a teacher in 1997 and served our district for 24 years. Mr. Spadoni was hired as a teacher in 1961, retired in 1999. He was a panel hearing member from 2101 to 2018, and he served the district for over 57 years. May I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
A motion by Ms. Perrell and a second by Mr. Rush. Any discussion? Having a motion and second, we will now vote. Mr. Martinez.
Aye.
Ms. Perrell. Aye. Dr. Ruffin.
Yes.
Ms. McGrady.
Aye.
Mr. Rush. I'm sorry, I almost voted for you.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yes, and Ms. Wynn is a yes, and the item passes. Everyone have a nice week. Appreciate your attending.